Hey, how's it going? This is Momo, and unfortunately, this video that you see right here is the recorded video that I did last night, but it has no audio. One of my good friends who has been watching my videos, shout out to Thayu, you are awesome. Um, I had a lot of things going on last night, and I thought, oh, okay. I forgot I needed to record my session for Final Fantasy IX, and I thought, well, let me just, just do this part of it. Let me get it done real quick and everything, and I should be done. It's just a big learning lesson to slow is smooth and smooth is fast, because had I paid attention, I would have seen on my recording system that all my audio devices were not set to where they're supposed to be. So while I was playing, uh, this whole thing happened. So I was left with two options: either start all over again, get to this point, and just race against time with it, or just use this time to, you know, reflect on where I've been so far with not just this video game, but just with life in general and all that stuff, and um, just kind of where I get the inspiration of voicing these characters and what I overall think of this game so far. And I was just laying there last night, and I was like, you know what? I got a lot going on tomorrow, as in today. So I've already got the video. Let's just put on some nice chill music. Let's make sure my audio is good this time, which I'm looking at my recording system right now, and it is working. So we're good on that. I hope. If not, I'm just gonna. If this doesn't go through and the audio's not there, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I need to take a break in the short, somewhat hobby that I have. I need to take a break from it because I've got a lot going on, which is a good segue into what has been going on in Momo's life. Um, I won't get into the details with it. Just a lot's been going on, along with work. Work has just been it's been chaotic. I had it's the nature of work. You just pulled all over the place, and you try to get things done. And the way I see it, if you're still standing and you're still surviving, you are getting stronger by it. So, personal life, I've been really trying my best to lose weight at a certain point. I started this journey a couple months ago, again, being close to 300 pounds, 298 or something like that. And last time I checked, I was at 261. So I made a lot of progress, but I'm still not quite there. I have noticed a big difference, though. My back doesn't hurt as much anymore. I'm not as sluggish. Um, thumbs up with that. The downside is that I keep struggling with diet and what have you, and I have all the I have every I know exactly what I need to get done. I just need to have the self control to get it done and out of the way. And the reason why I'm doing this is partly it's for a multitude of reasons. Biggest ones is for career related stuff, and I just want to be healthier. That's the bottom line. And yeah, I think we'll just leave it at that. So that's been going on. Been a lot tired, body sore, but it's a good kind of sore. And aside from that, I've been recently getting into DMing Dungeons and Dragons a lot. Um, had somewhat of a session zero last night, and it was fun, but it was a lot. It was a lot to organize and everything like that, and it didn't go quite as planned, so schedules had to change and all that stuff. Just lots of moving parts with that. And on top of, doing these videos on every weekend, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you know, after you cram a whole lot of stuff throughout the week, you realize very quickly, oh shoot, I can't do this because I've got this scheduled. I can't do this because I got that scheduled. So, um, I've also got my other friends when we're doing other, you know, Dungeons and Dragons sessions or just chilling on Minecraft or, you know, doing Arma Reforger with other stuff. So, needless to say, I got my stuff in a lot of things right now. It's not overwhelming. It's just I gotta maybe take a step back and go, okay, what do I what do I need to put aside and what do I need to focus on so I don't crash and burn. Um, this was probably like a subtle wake up call for me to be like, hey, it's okay to take your time with stuff, you know. So when it comes to like doing videos on this channel, that's probably not on my biggest priority list. And it's not because I don't care. It's just I've got a lot of other stuff that's happening around me. And because this is fairly new and I don't exactly know what I'm doing as well, this is just like a hobby. This is a way to just chill, relax, enjoy a game that I have been wanting to play and complete since it came out. And we'll get in there in a quick second. Um, it's been on my ticket for a long time and just never got around to it. Um, but now I'm glad that I'm getting into it right now because I think I got as I have I have attempted to play this game on my own, and I got as far as maybe the beginning of the second disc in comparison. That's which I believe at this point this is like kind of coming up to where I'm going to be in unknown territory. I still am. I still don't know what's exactly going on and everything. I just, like I said, I'm just enjoying it. These videos, this playlist, this series, it's not anything glamorous. It's just a old old gamer who is just enjoying his time playing an old game that he wanted to play and complete ever since he was a kid. So, for those that do watch this, I really very much thank you for folks who view this stuff. Every time I posted a video and I check on my channel every once in a while, I'll see it be like one viewer, two viewer. I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. There's plenty of other great videos out there. Why are you watching this one? You know, I beat myself up a little too much sometimes. I swear, and I will get into the game and all that stuff. Understand too that we have like a good solid hour of video right here. So, excuse me for a second. That is horrible. That is horrible for me to cough like that. I'm sorry. If you haven't heard by my voice, it's a little froggy. I think I'm getting a little head cold. Everything is just wanting to come up against me. I'll be fine though. It's no big deal. Just had a tickle in my throat, took some throat spray and cough drops, so I'm good. So, coming back to this, what do I think of the game so far? Let's start with that. This game has a very unique way of telling a story that I like. It's fantastical. It's got that charm of, you know, turn-based games, which I know nowadays you don't really see that very much often, but it is definitely a blast from the past. Very much nostalgia oozing out of here. This was stuff that I, you know, grew up playing myself. I remember playing games like Legends of the Dragoon, Breath of Fire, of course, Final Fantasy games. Probably my favorite turn-based Final Fantasy game has to be Final Fantasy Tactics, which, if you haven't heard, or if you haven't had your ear close to the ground with Final Fantasy stuff, they're coming out with a I don't know if it's a remastered or a remake of Final Fantasy Tactics on Steam this September. So you better bet your sweet Bippy I'm going to be playing and more than likely recording that because unlike this game, which I'm kind of going in blind, Tactics I know very, very well, and that'd probably be more on a serious side. Guarantee if there is some chance for me to do my famous voice acting, we'll definitely get into that. I definitely will do some voice acting in it. It probably be more on the serious side because unlike this game where you can get away with like being goofy at some parts, it's a bit more on the serious side because it involves with conflict and end of the world and that stuff. I don't. I think this one does end of the world stuff as well, but it's more on the lighter side. You can. Which I know I keep bouncing back and forth, but that's kind of the other thing why I like this game. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It it's in a way it's I feel it's a lot more relatable than a lot of stuff that I see nowadays. So, um, why did I? I don't know. I'm just gonna try to think of all the questions that folks may have when it comes to this. What do I think of the combat system? I think the combat system is it's a bit slower than usual. Understand this is a slower. I don't want to say slower, but it is kind of like the mechanics of it. I don't know whether it's just the transfer of steam or something like that, but it does feel clunky at some parts, and that's probably just because it's an older game. It's going to be clunky, and I'm not putting that against it. It's just sometimes I'm just sitting there going like, "Damn, it feels." I can't believe as a kid I used to think that this was the best of the best graphics when this first came out. You know what I'm saying? But it's not always about the story. So here in Burmecia, I actually I like this part of the story. This was interesting. Apparently, there is a way to get that chest right there. If you notice, when my character was walking, he just ran there instead of walking. So apparently, if you just walk, this is from what I gathered. If you walk across the bridge instead of run it, you can pick up the chest. I don't know what it is over there. I was just doing this. This is again a blind run, so if that chest happened to be a key component to creating the ultimate weapon or something, yeah, I'm gonna kick my butt for it. But I'm not gonna. I'm probably just gonna forget about it and just keep moving on because, you know, if they really, really wanted me to have that thing, they would have like made it obvious. But I don't know. Final Fantasy has a funny way of making like certain weapons and certain awesome game breaking weapons to be nearly impossible to acquire. I believe it was this game actually that for you to get Steiner's best weapon, the Excalibur 2, you essentially had to get to this part in the game, last part in the game, within like 12 hours upon starting the game. And I don't know if you looked, but if you look closely at my save files, I'm already at the 12 and I haven't even finished disc 1. So definitely a crazy, crazy way of getting a weapon as simple as that. So we are kind of in the middle of Burmecia. Um, what do I think of characters so far? I think Zidane, and we'll start with him, who's the main guy. Zidane is alright, just a generic ladies' man who, kind of calls it as it is and everything like that. I didn't really have an idea for a voice of him. I figured since I've been playing him the most, essentially, I just use my own voice, so nothing really much to talk about with that one. I think his playstyle is interesting. Not very many protagonists usually are like slashers and big axes and that stuff. No, his is more on the thief side. So the mechanic for, hey, we encourage you to steal items from everything, that's an interesting thing. So yeah, I like that. Um, go next to Vivi. I thoroughly love the character Vivi. Um, it stemmed from it's this is more of the aesthetic side of things, but it stemmed from going back to tactics. When you play that game, you can have a character in there known as a black mage, and I don't know. Ever since I saw the art and like the way that Final Fantasy made what a black mage looks like to them, I just I just love their design of a black mage. I don't know what it is about um, what it was when I was growing up, but I've always thought that having like the small, insecure, mysterious but powerful character always interested me because growing up I felt powerless a lot of times, and there were characters in shows and video games that helped me, you know, grow out. Not I don't want to say grow out, but help me be more comfortable with myself and be more confident. And Vivi and the Black Mage in itself was one of those. Despite being this like unassuming, innocent, partially sometimes innocent-looking character, he's very capable of doing more things. He just has to be more confident in doing it, which is more of why I really liked Vivi in Final Fantasy IX. When more I got to learn about him, um, the more I enjoyed him. So he's bar none, not only my favorite character in this game, but my favorite character in all of Final Fantasy because of, to me, of what he represents to me. Freya. I was surprised with Freya because I didn't know much about her, but I am very happy that I gave her an Australian accent. Trying to. I'll get to the voice acting in a second, but it just kind of evolved into, well, if she speaks Australian, then these guys will all speak Australian. I think it just fits fits it pretty well. I think they're cool. These guys, I don't know what you would call them. The bad guys call them rats. I think. Damn, it's harsh, but yeah, they're really cool in my book. The Burmecians, I'll call them that. Queenie. Queenie's a difficult. I don't want to say difficult, but she's all right. Just the goofy, lightheaded, Tom. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. So, yeah, not really much to say about her. Then we go back over to Steiner. If you watched my earlier videos, I thought it would be kind of silly to do the voice of Steiner. I was trying to make it sound like Zap Brannigan, but it didn't turn out. It didn't translate so well. So it just kind of ended up to making him like this overprotective, grizzled father figure who's just, oh, it's always by the books. It's always by the books and unorthodox. You cannot do such a thing as the princess. So, I thought that was a really cool way of doing that. Garnet, Garnet, I feel so bad for doing her voices because I cannot do female voices to save my life. If you haven't noticed, I try. I really do try. It just doesn't work for me. But I like her, yes, she's not too familiar with the world and everything, but she's trying to, carve her own path, and I can respect someone like that for doing something, for doing that. And I think that her methods of like getting things done is, I would just be like, why would you do that? You why couldn't you speak like what you're going through? Why would you have to poison your friends just to get away? Why? Because you assume they wouldn't understand? Well, there'll probably be some resistance, but you know, you're she's very persistent. So why couldn't she? I don't know. I have mixed feelings with Garnet, but overall I like her as a character. Um, But sorry, I just had a train of thought right there. Who else do we have here for? I don't think we're missing really anybody else in the main party. Steiner, Freya, Queenie, Momo, Zidane. Well, I should say Vivi and Garnet. Yep, no, that's it for now. And I know that there's a couple more characters to be introduced, so I'm sure I'll find voices for them. I thought of Queenie's voice, since I'm looking at the screen. Queenie's voice, she's just like, she's got that broken English going on and got her tongue out and everything, and I haven't really found a voice for her, so I just thought,
I just use this right here, and oh, that looks good. Oh yeah, yes, 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 that looks nice. Oh, I like this. This is good food.
so something like that would probably fit for now, but you know, it's probably gonna stay like that because I really just don't have like, I can't think of any other voices that would fit better with it. Kind of go back to Freya. I don't know why, but when I just started throwing her with a voice that sounded like this, with an Australian accent, I thought it was fit very well, given the fact she got a lancer and she was charging stuff, and she's a dragon. I believe she's a dragon knight in this one. She's a brave warrior, very capable, and I thought that fit very well with her. There's someone who's, very distant and is just trying to regain her honor. And it's like, that's really cool. I like that. Again, going and of course, my personal favorite, Vivi, or Momo in this case. I was trying to find a voice for him, sort of like a little nervous voice. Oh, I don't know, and stuff like that. Just trying to imagine what I was like as a kid, who was very self-conscious and very nervous all the time. And there you go. I'm not gonna lie. There are moments that whenever Vivi does talk, and moments where I was just like, I just want to help and everything. There are few moments where my heart just kind of melts for Vivi, and I'm just like, my brain's like, don't crack. You, you're in the middle of recording right now. Do not crack. You cannot crack right now. You have to commit. Don't you dare tear up. So, yeah. I have been having a lot of fun doing the voices of these characters. Granted, a lot of these characters I just either forget or I can't get all the time. There's just so many characters. And I know I've mistaken some characters sounding one thing and then in the other. I'm pretty sure in the future when people are just, if someone's just binge watching it, they'll go one after the other. They'll be like, whoa, his voice was this and now it's that. What the hell's going on? Well, these are recorded once every week. So I personally do not, I very rarely watch my previous videos. I can't explain why, but I sometimes don't like to hear the sound of my voice, which is weird because I want other people to enjoy it and see if they like what I have to say. I don't know. As even though I've look, don't get me wrong. I'm a very confident and capable person, but the little kid inside of me is still there, and he's still self-conscious with what he has to say and what he does. Which is why there are times whenever, especially in big group, when I'm in a big group of people, and everyone's just kind of clamoring to talk over everybody else, I tend to just stay quiet and just wait until it's my turn. And it's one of the things that is like one of my pet peeves whenever I try to talk or something and people just talk over you, because I don't know what it is, but like for the longest time as a kid, I've always been talked over like that and never got a chance to speak what I wanted to say. So if you kind of notice that I kind of stutter a little bit in moments, or pause or do stuff, it's because part of that, the other part is just relaxing, needing to relax and just not worry about what people think of what you got to say. Everyone's got their own opinion. Um, you know, opinions are like armpits. Everyone's got one, and sometimes they stink. There's a more adult version of that phrase, and I'm not going to say it here because armpits is a ironically compared to what I was thinking. It's armpits is a much cleaner version of that phrase. So we are about getting into like the big climactic part of this video. Just been yammering on and stuff like that. I always kind of worry sometimes whenever I play these, especially with the story and stuff, because I did say that I wanted to shorten it to 45 minutes, and I didn't account for the random encounters that you get into, because that sometimes just takes a chunk out of time. The whole equipping system and the ability system, that takes time. I just didn't realize, so I don't know. I'm just gonna probably record or whatever feels enough for me to go, all right, that's enough. But it just seems like after looking at the previous videos, I've just been kind of stopping it at an hour, which, you know, if folks don't mind watching me rambling off for an hour, I'm all for that. I'll just continue that. So I also like, there's something about, I forget what the term is with the background and everything, but I think it's like it's not photorealistic, but they're like photo based or something like that, where they take photos of the background and stuff. Either or. I think the designs are it's all great. I enjoy the designs for majority of players. I like how this game can be, you know, whimsical at one point, and then it can be but it doesn't go too far off the deep end where you're like, we're going to be super whimsical, because it has its moments where it's going to get serious, and I like that. But it doesn't take itself so seriously that there's no room for being jokeful. Like at this part right here, he just hops up on that leg and falls over, and it's just like I think at that moment when I was recording, I was just like, I just chuckled right there, trying to stay character. But yeah, this was a good playthrough, and again, I feel bad for not paying attention to my audio, which yeah, you know, you learn something new, and hopefully I can maintain. I learned from this, and I could just move on from here. So. What I have been doing before I do my recordings, I would do some test recordings just to make sure everything sounds good, and I didn't do that last night, so. Yes, Queen Bran. There are a few characters that I enjoy doing. If you saw in the previous Regent Sid, love doing that character. I don't know what it is. I just love doing like the obnoxious, just bombastic voices. They're just so fun to me. I forget the first guy that you're with, Taru or something. It's whoever Zidane's boss was, the big pig guy looking. I'd enjoy doing his voice. Unfortunately, with Burmecia and Freya, now I gave them all Australian accents, and so I just realized Beatrix is in there, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if I know exactly how to do English accent and Australian accent well enough for anyone watching this to know that, like, oh, this is his Australian, this is his English accent. You know, part of like doing some successful voice accents, language accents. Well, part of doing that is like trying to figure out like their grammar, how they speak, and just some things. You kind of pick up on that sort of stuff, and you try to translate that over into whenever you're doing that sort of stuff. It can be exhausting sometimes doing voice acting. I didn't realize how much of it requires, and you could tell that from whenever I was reading some captions, I would just get tongue-tied. I think what's important is that, you could just take your time with it. It's like what I said at the beginning of this video: slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So we are about halfway into this video. Hope you guys have been enjoying my voice and my, reflection upon this. Mystery Man. I I gave this guy, and I hope I get to see him again when I record some more. But I gave this guy, I can only explain. It sounds like the voice of James from Pokemon. So it sounds like this all the time. Oh, this is so interesting. Like, I'm not trying to make him like, oh, look at me, because I could definitely. I mean, I took one look at that outfit and I was like, dude, what the hell? What? Why? Like, more power to you if you feel like wearing that. I just like, it's in the middle of the rain. It's probably cold as hell, and you are exposed to the elements. You're gonna die of pneumonia. Okay. At this point, I just let time take itself and just destroy you. But yeah, for him, I was just like, oh, you're just wasting your time. Rats often look for new homes when they sense an earthquake. And anytime whenever I see them like doing the giggle and that stuff, I try to add a little bit of extra, like, so you see, it is too late. The king has already turned and fled. Something like that. Just to add a little more spice to the dialogue and stuff like that. I understand that I also mess up with how things are pronounced, and I'll just add some words into it when it's not there or whatever. I'm not as good of a voice actor as other folks out there. But I'm also enjoying myself, and if it doesn't bother folks when they watch this, that's great. But if it's like, oh yeah, your voice acting sucks, like, okay, well, I really don't. Not to sound like a jerk, but I'm gonna do my best. But if it doesn't turn out to be good, well, live and learn and just do better next time. That's all I can say. But yeah, this was a very interesting encounter. Bran, when I saw her, I just had to think of like someone who is essentially choking on her own fat. So I just kind of like tilt my head back a little bit and put my chin down to my neck and just, oh, this is so like this all the time. Oh, this is going as perfectly as planned. Oh, pass me a donut. I'm low on sugar. Just do something like that. Yeah. I have been rambling for 33 minutes. And I am, I don't want to say I'm not a material, but yeah, this is, the story is coming about. So from what I understand, Princess leaves Alexandria. They're trying to get them over to Lindblum. There's some political stuff that's going on here. Basically, Alexandria is making some what I would consider foolish moves. Why are they doing this stuff? Why is Garnet looking like the way she is and Bran's looking like the way she is? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I just can't imagine someone as beautiful looking as Garnet came out of someone as something like Bran. It just doesn't make any sense. I've never met someone so humiliated in my entire life. I think she is an interesting character, Beatrix. I want to call her Beatrice because some of these characters' names are just like, come on, man, how do you want me to pronounce this? Like, when I saw Chocobo for the first time, I thought it was pronounced not Chocobo, but pronounced Chocobo. But that took years until I heard it out loud for the first time, and I said, oh, it's Chocobo, not Chocobo. So, yeah, this fight was pretty cool. I did do a little bit of grinding in between the stories and stuff. Just mainly not because I just wanted to beef up their levels, but I just wanted them to acquire their abilities. So, of course, that naturally means I'm just sitting there grinding away and just going through the motions and all that stuff, and just in grind mode. Which, to be honest, I often have my friends ask me, are you going to do a stream? Are you going to record? I think with a game like this, sometimes it asks for to do a little bit of grinding. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, well, when I'm grinding, I'll just stream those moments and that stuff. But, I know that folks want to watch me play through it as I'm streaming along. My problem with that, it's not really a problem, but my struggle, I would say, is when if I'm streaming while I'm playing, I'm going to be quiet, if that makes sense. And I'm just going to constantly keep looking to my left, looking what people have to say, because I don't want to play through a game while folks are watching and it's just me just rambling off and I'm not looking to my left, and like maybe someone posted something that I just completely missed. I'm like, oh, sorry about that, and then they just go away. I yeah, I'm back and forth with that idea. I think, but so I have a bit more control of with these recordings and stuff. I think it helps getting little snippets and everything. The pressure is not there the whole time. Because I think when I was doing it before in the earlier episodes, my microphone was really, really bad. For some reason, it likes to squeak or something. That's why I'm too embarrassed to do that. I don't know. Maybe at some point, if I get famous enough and I get requested, do Final Fantasy IX again the right way. I'm like, all right, fine. And then maybe that time I'll be good at editing videos or something, which I'd like to get into editing videos at some point. I know that takes a whole lot of time and effort, which unfortunately for me, I don't have a whole lot of. So for now, this is what we have. Don't worry, I end up winning this fight, but yeah, she was whacking at me pretty hard. So I don't know. I know this was like a scripted battle. I don't know whether if I still had to beat her or if she just annihilated me, that it would continue on. I just kept on going, kept on surviving. And yep, this is it. I think I gave Beatrix a good voice for her, though. So I'm happy with that. The video seems to be kind of choppy at this part. And yeah, this was really so. Fighting done. They got to go to Clera, whatever. Filthy Rat, and I'm just having a hard time with this outfit. Somebody at Squaresoft was just like, I want to make a design for the ladies. Yeah, I just noticed the video quality is pretty bad because everything's kind of, I don't know if it's buffering or something like that, but I'm noticing a lot of choppiness going on here. So maybe if I just pause real quick, give it a few seconds, and then boop. Would that work? Nah, not really. I think it just has something to do with like me watching this as I'm recording this. So I don't know why, but maybe it's the long silver hair. Kind of reminds me of Sephiroth, but Sephiroth looks way better than this guy. Just saying. That's where I got to see this design of this dragon creature Phoenix thing. I liked it. I liked the color shimmering with that. Kind of reminded me of, how sometimes Pearl has like that little translucent looking color to it. Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of, like a pearl dragon. I also thought that as soon as he flew off and this part happened, I thought he was just going to fly in and just kill these two guys. um, I've also realized that when it comes to like doing the voices for all these characters, I have a very limited amount of voices that I can do. Um, I have a hard time doing high pitched squeaky voices. I could try, but it's a lot. It really messes with my throat. So um, you can kind of tell that there's a lot of my voices generically are just like they usually sound like this or different variations. I enjoy doing this. This short guard, tall guard, it gives me a lot of the Wedge and Biggs vibe for sure. And for those of you who are not familiar, throughout the entire Final Fantasy series, there's these two characters that pop up. I don't know if in all of them, but there's these two characters known as Wedge and Biggs, and they're not necessarily comic relief characters, but they kind of pop up and like, oh yeah, these guys are here. I saw them first in Final Fantasy VIII, and ever since then, I'd see them in nearly all of the Final Fantasy games. I go, oh, that's them. And you can kind of recognize it because they have a very unique banter with each other. So I don't know if that's what the tall guard and short guard are supposed to be, but I can tell. That's what I feel it is. And of course, we're now back to Steiner, and I know she wants to call herself, in this case, Sting, but it's Garnet. I am very much happy how I changed Steiner's voice from the Zap Brannigan to the upset, pompous.
My name is Captain Steiner of the Knights of the Pluto.
I'm glad I went with that one. It's still on the goofy side of it, but I can still make it serious. It fits better with this world, to be honest. I remember with this conductor, I gave him the classic. I don't want to say it was a Boston accent, but it was like, "Oh, why don't you wait in the rest area up ahead? We'll be departing shortly." Give him that little thing. All aboard. That kind of voice for her or for him. This is the part of the game where I realize of how she runs. Look, if you run like that, more power to you. I just have a hard time taking folks seriously if they run daintily across areas like that. It's just like, are you okay? You're about to trip or something? Look, and again, if you run like that, that's fine. I'm just gonna chuckle under my breath. I think Garnet overall is an interesting character. I was kind of I don't want to say upset. I was kind of annoyed how this whole time when she took off, not just for the story, but for mechanics wise, like I really would have loved to have her as a white mage character to heal my group and stuff, because not having a whole lot of fun just throwing potions up and hoping for the best. That nothing just wipes us out because, But maybe that's just the game's way of being like, hey, you need to you need to not wholly rely on the white mage saving you from all that stuff. So, it is what it is. This poor lady, I can never remember how to do her voice. I think in this one, I think I was just doing a last little country accent for her. Just wanted to be by her side, but I have work to do. I think that fit better for her. But then again, she looks like you got these two characters that look exactly the same. And the one on the left, I had him say, "Oh, something like this," and all that stuff. And then the one on the right just, oh, the gate's gonna be closed. What's gonna happen? This isn't really like planned out either. It was just spontaneous. Just so if there's some parts where they just sound similar, I don't know. And then and this is just because I'm doing all the voices and everything, I don't like it whenever I see any text boxes that are off screen, because I don't know who it is and I'll mess it up. So there's that. this part too. This guy right here, he's talking about his bunt cake, and I felt I can't believe I missed it. And I just rolled with it. Oh, you gotta try our famous bunt cake, and I wish I had that recorded properly, because the whole time, every time I saw bunt cake, no matter who it was, would always emphasize on the bunt cake. It was great. I've also decided with the Moogles, if it's the male one, it's gonna sound like Joe from Family Guy. Be like, "Hey, Peter, check this out. Hey, we're gonna save, okay?" And for the ones with the females, because they got the pink vest going on, will sound like this all the time. Oh my god, oh my god, my baby, are you okay, my baby? I try to imagine that movie, My Cousin Vinny, Vinny's fiance. Trying to imagine like how she sounds and stuff. Although her voice is a lot more squeaky and high pitched, and like I said, not good at female voices, but darn it, I do try. I'm gonna commit to it. I like the. It's not the leveling system, but I like the ability system in this, where certain items you have, if you train with it, it gives you those abilities to choose from. I think that's pretty cool. You know, it's a new twist with, like, instead of just having everyone just level up and everything like that, it kind of gives you an idea of, hey, you see all these abilities, you can train up to get those abilities, and that's usually like a good way to determine like whether I'm ready to progress or not, because I focus on trying to get all those abilities prior to doing anything big. So better believe after this video I'm gonna probably do a little bit of side grinding just to get their abilities. I've already done it with the previous characters, but I think with this one, with Steiner, Garnet, I'm going to get their abilities in as well. I want to make sure that they're fully equipped and ready to go, because I think right now Steiner and Garnet are at level 8. I'm just looking at their levels right now, and yeah, they're going to need some grinding either way. So I think leveling wise, I'm progressing pretty well. None of the encounters I've had so far have been horrendous, except for that one time when I nearly got wiped by a stupid parrot. So yeah, fun times with that one. And of course we're back over here with Cinnabon and Marcus. Cinnabon, easy character. It's just like their boss's voice, just a little bit more higher pitched. Marcus, I don't necessarily know what to do with his voice. I did try to attempt to make, because he's got like an underbite looking thing with like that, so maybe kind of sound a little orcish or something, like, but it didn't quite sound right coming from him. At the beginning I thought it'd be kind of cool. He's this gruff looking dude, but he sounds elegant and pure. But it sounds too close to Zidane. So I have a feeling Marcus is becoming more of a relevant character as this game progresses. So I think for Marcus, I almost want to give him an Australian or a British accent. I don't know. I had to I don't want to say I had to workshop it. I don't have to workshop it. I'd had to figure it out. I might do a little bit of working on it right here. Princess, what are you doing here? Princess, what are you doing here? Wait a second. We escaped from the evil forest. You just gotta wing it sometimes. And then when you find something that you're comfortable with, it's like, oh, that fits the character really well. I'm just one person too, so I'm pretty sure someone else can do a much better job voicing Marcus, but they're not sitting here next to me doing it. I remember when I was younger, kind of going back to tactics, my friend and I, who introduced me to the game, I remember we would sit there together going through the story, and we would go back and forth with different voices and stuff. So I would play one character, he would play as another character, and we would just kind of go back and forth and like, oh, you play him, okay, I'll play as him and stuff, and we'd read through it and stuff. It was awesome. So that's why when I do these voices for these characters, it sometimes feels natural to me, because in a weird way, I kind of enjoy the no voices with these characters, because it allows you to, put your own little flavor into these characters. So, which is probably, I don't know if this is anything, but I always thought that, like, the silent protagonist, in my own personal opinion, I think having a silent protagonist is much better than having one that has a voice, because for me it's more, you're able to immerse into the world better when you yourself don't hear a voice or something. I don't know. Sometimes there's some protagonist voices that are really distracting to me, and then on the other side, the opposite happens, where they do such a great job that I'm already pulled into it. So yes, it is my preference that I would enjoy having a protagonist not say anything, but I also see the benefits of, having a protagonist have being able to talk and everything is also very beneficial. It just it just has to be very, I would say, the what am I say, the standard. The standard for it is pretty high. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just let's just say I just like doing silent protagonists because it's more immersive for me. But I also understand that it could be just as immersive as the other way around. It's just my preference. So they're here. They're on the train, working their way to. I think they're going to Trano, if I remember correctly. Yeah, where's the dang? We severed in and blown. Got rid of. I like Marcus because in this part, because he's calling her out on the stuff that she did to him, and he's just like, he's not taking anything from it. He's just like, whatever. you left my bro out there for your own self gain. What's wrong with you? And there's that sweet lady right there in the front. But wouldn't it be better if I had to choose which one was my favorite voices and stuff, it'd probably be Regent Sid. I just have way too much fun with that ridiculous voice. Then it would be the Queen. And it's actually this one right here. This one is actually my third favorite right here, which will get revealed right now. Yep, the Black Waltz. I like the Black Waltz. Anytime whenever I get to do like evil voice acting, I think it's really cool. So must retreat. It's like, yes, I get to be evil. I'm gonna try to find a voice for that fits that, and when I do, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bit boring for me to do the all the high pitched voices, and we're gonna do it, guys. I'm just like, screw that. Let's spice things up. Why don't we? So this is essentially the last battle of this video, at least for this video. So I was kind of, I was happy to see this character because I had a lot of fun voicing the Black Waltz. I wanted to make them unique with each of them, and of course they're far in between, but I hopefully the Black Waltz, I don't see the last of the Black Waltz because I think they're really, really cool. The strategy with this one is pretty straightforward. I assumed that the Waltz guy wasn't going to hurt Sting, so it was just a matter of just having Steiner and Marcus attack, and then just keeping them as alive as long as possible. And that's where I found out that stealing was awesome, because I picked up a flame staff and I thought, oh, you know what? Stealing in this game is very beneficial. I should steal more. Not that I haven't at this point, but it just further confirmed that having the chance to steal stuff is like very, very beneficial. This is when I also found out that the buffs that you give to your characters don't last forever. I don't know if it's a turn-based sort of thing, or if it was how much damage they take before it disappears. I just kept at it. That train looks a lot smaller than these characters, I'm just going to say. Yeah, I quickly realized of how Sting as the healer, I'm so happy to be able to have a character in the group doing that, because I don't know, it's not that I wasn't able to do it, but I just didn't like just throwing potions at people. I wanted to have a dedicated healer. It was nice to have. I didn't realize Freeze did that. That was interesting too. And I think the way to do it is, I'm sure there was a way, it was like Remedy or something, but you know, him throwing fire at me is another way of doing it. Yeah, nothing too crazy with this fight. Just throwing shells on my two bros, and my bros just whacking at Waltz until he falls over dead. Yeah, I've noticed that my video quality here has just been kind of choppy, so again, I do apologize for that happening, but on the plus side, we are nearing the end of the video, so we're just getting there. We're about to get there. So I think as soon as this is done, we'll just stop the recording and move on. But some last minute remarks. In summation, I like saying that word. In summary, again, I do apologize for not having the audio from the video when I posted it. I got rid of that video. This is going to replace it. Hopefully folks will still enjoy my voice and my talking for a whole hour and all that stuff. If it got a little too, I don't want to say cringy, but if it got a little too sappy at the beginning, I'm sorry. But I think, you know, just going off, just taking a whack at it, I think I did pretty good with trying to recover this video and voicing over it. If you've been hearing the background music, I just threw on some a video that says "Rest, the storm too shall pass." I thought that fit very well with what things are going on, and not just this game, but also in my life. So, yeah. But yeah, this has been overall relaxing. I personally have stuff to do when I'm done with this, so hopefully it'll get uploaded and you'll get to enjoy it. This encounter with Burmecia and the reveal of Kuja and Queen Bran, they've all been a lot of fun. I hope that in the next video that I do, y'all get to see more of it. I may have to read a little bit ahead to see when the next big encounter is going to be, so I can do that. I think, because where I stop right here is going to be with Steiner, Marcus, and Garnet, so there might be some grinding there. I may just dedicate a weekend, Saturday morning, just doing that and just playing along and everything. I think it's just gonna be very, very not as I don't want to say animated. it's not going to be as like, oh, I'm doing all the voices and stuff. It's just going to be just grinding away and all that stuff. So, you know, if you're into the boring, going back and forth, and me being quiet and doing that stuff, by all, you know, hop on in. I may just put on some music or something. I don't know. I know that whenever I do the grinding stuff, I just need something distracting me, because otherwise I'm just going to stop after an hour and just be like, all right, I'm done. And then so if you don't care for watching me just doing the what I consider the boring grinding stuff, I could just do that offline and just stick to live streaming, like the fun stuff, the storytelling and everything. If you prefer that way, just let me know. So this part right here, this is when I realized, oh, I could just go over to Dolly. I'm gonna go to Dolly. Ha ha ha! You can't tell me what to do, game. And I immediately, as soon as I realized I can progress to Dolly, I was like, maybe not. I'm kind of back the other way. So you could hear my voice when I was just like, is this the point of no return? I don't know, because again, I'm playing blind on this, so I don't know any better. I know that there's some elements in this game where it's just like, oh, because you missed it, you're never going to get it again. Like that stupid chest at Burmecia. Probably never going to see that chest again. So, not trying to say that I'm trying to make this into 100% completion, because I think I've already missed that already. I think that overall this game is, I'm glad I'm playing through this. This has been so far a great experience for me, not just with the videos and all that stuff. It's just been overall a great time. And for those that are watching now or near the future, I really thank you for taking time out of your day to sit here and watch me ramble off and just have fun with this game. And I encourage anybody who hasn't played this game to go play it for themselves. This game is very there's a reason why this is one of the best Final Fantasy games out there. I would say this was at a time when Final Fantasy was at its peak, throwing out games. Like there was nothing that they couldn't throw out there that wasn't like whatever, because yeah, this is one of them. So, but this is near the end. I'm pretty sure there's like a minute left. Yeah, I'm saving it and everything. So I think I'll just stop right here. But thank you all for indulging me with this. I hope you have a great day yourselves. And as usual, I'll see you in the next video. So, but for now, take care of yourself out there.